Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2. And hope you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So we're going to give you a whole bunch of trade rumors here. We're getting into June soon. Hoping the June swoon from my Mets, although it might be coming a little early. I got a whole bunch of rumors here. Let's start up with the Astros and the Cardinals. That's some big names getting moved in these reports. Headline from Fansided. Headline: an Astros Cardinals trade to move past Jose Abreu and back into contention. The Astros are trending back in the right direction. And one trade with the Cardinals could end their problem. Jose Abreu. That was a bad signing by the Astros, wasn't it? The Astros desperately need something to change if they want to be the same contending team that they've been consistently in recent memory. One of the biggest holes on their roster has been created by the horrendous, and the hut means terrible, despicable play of Jose Abreu. The solution to their problem at first base could reside in St. Louis by way of the struggling former MVP and Cardinals first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt. One problem for another problem? As of now, the speculation as Houston may look to be sellers at the deadline, but it's still too early to tell. The Astros have been hot of late, winners of 10 of the last 12, putting them back in the hunt, the AL West title. They sit just 4 games out now after the recent hot streak. If they're going to continue making advancements toward a playoff berth, they'll need to take some chances. Acquiring Goldschmidt from St. Louis would be the perfect risk to take at this point in the year. So here's the proposed deal. Paul Goldschmidt would go to the Astros for A.J. Blubaugh and Colin Barber. I guess Abreu would be the guy in there too, I guess. Or maybe not at all. Paul Goldschmidt desperately needs a fresh start, the veteran first baseman. Won MVP just 2 years ago. His skills haven't diminished to the extent in just 2 years. Additionally, he would be an upgrade over Abreu and John Singleton, who have been both struggled just as bad as Goldschmidt has this year. The Cardinals, they desperately need to rebuild their roster. Goldschmidt would be the perfect guy to kick the rebuild off with because his value may continue to decrease if his struggles continue. A trade package of A.J. Blubaugh and Colin Barber should get the job done for both sides. St. Louis is likely looking to enter a short-term rebuild. It's crucial for them to acquire prospects that are near Major League ready. Moving past Jose Abreu would be a huge breath of fresh air for the Astros. Abreu has been horrible this season, even worse than the struggling Goldschmidt. It's quite hard to find too many trades that are true win-win trades. But if these are the mindsets of these two teams, this could be a true win-win for everybody involved. I don't know about that. Goldschmidt's been terrible. He looks like he's done. So I don't understand this whole idea of this trade, that's for sure. From sportsnot.com, let's talk about the team up north, the Toronto Blue Jays. It's a headline. MLB report reveals if the Toronto Blue Jays are willing to trade star players, that may include Kevin Gausman. Interesting. The Blue Jays enter MLB games today with one of the worst records in the American League, greatly underperforming expectations for the club coming into the 24th season. As the MLB trade deadline draws near, there seems to be a stronger chance of Toronto making serious changes. Toronto boosts plenty of talent on its roster with multi-time all-star selections of both the Blue Jays lineup and starting rotation. Yet the club has underperformed with a batting order that ranks 29th in runs scored, 26th in slugging, and a pitching staff 23rd ERA and 25th in WHIP. This is terrible. Terrible numbers. Unfortunately for Toronto, which sits well below the 500 mark, the American League is especially competitive this year. The Kansas City Royals, the Detroit Tigers, have emerged as threats for wildcard spots, while the Yankees, Baltimore, and Guardians have the best records in the league. Realistically, barring an unexpected turnaround, the Blue Jays will be out of the playoff picture when the MLB trade deadline arrives. With that being the expectation, it sparked MLB trade rumors of Toronto being active sellers this summer. Addressing the Blue Jays' situation in foul territory, the Munchkin, Ken Rosendahl, the Athletic, shed light on what could be coming for Toronto. Quote, we've spoken about the Jays and possibly being sellers. Mostly about Guerrero, who are free agents after next season. If you're going to make a trade, who better to trade than Kevin Gausman? If the Jays do this, I don't expect they will, and Kevin Gausman will be available. Interesting. As important that the Munchkin makes in his informed speculation that the Blue Jays might not be sellers, as he points out, Toronto's general manager Ross Atkins and president of baseball operations Mark Shapiro are nearing the end of their contracts. If they decide to become sellers this summer, it would be an indictment on the very roster they built. Toronto could still certainly move a player like starting pitcher Yusei Kikuchi or closer Jordan Romano, but trading Gausman or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. would be a far bigger statement regarding the direction of the club. For now, it appears the Blue Jays aren't poised to be big-time sellers at the MLB trade deadline. And finally in this video, let's talk again about the Astros, and this involves the Detroit Tigers. This is an interesting rumor. Interesting. This has a possibility of possibly happening. Or at least it has the potential on the surface. You never know. It's from Fanside again. An Astros-Tigers trade that sends Justin Verlander back to the future, to his first home. The Astros could look to Justin Verlander before the trade deadline, potentially to his old stomping grounds. Well, isn't that interesting? That would be an interesting turn of events. Before the 24 season started, the projections experts all said that the Detroit Tigers would be a bottom feeder of the league, and Houston Astros would remain among the league's best teams. Well, that didn't happen. Oh well. Fast forward to 25% of the way to the season, and the exact opposite is the case. The Astros look to be prime candidates to be sellers at the deadline, and the Tigers could find themselves in position to compete in the AL Central. That's exactly why baseball is such a beautiful game. These two teams, though different in many ways, could find some common ground in the trade market before this year's deadline. The Astros have a pitcher who they may want to move, that the Tigers are rather familiar with, former Tiger Justin Verlander. Who would have ever thought that we would be in a position to see the Tigers reuniting with one of the best pitchers to ever suit up for them? I know I didn't. The trade would probably be easier to put together than most think, too. First and foremost, the Tigers have a plethora of pitching prospects. They could move to acquire Verlander. In fact, the Tigers could likely get Verlander in a one-for-one deal, and this is the deal they're talking about. Verlander goes to the Tigers, and Houston would pick up Ty Madden. The Astros would likely want a top pitching prospect for Verlander. Obviously, Detroit won't part with their top prospect, Jackson Jobe. So that leaves Ty Madden as the next best option. Madden is often overshadowed by Jobe, Reese Olson, and Sawyer Gibson-Long, all of whom look a bit more fit for the big leagues at the moment. This leads Detroit with willingness to part ways with this prospect if Verlander is available. For Houston, they're likely going to trade away a few of their big names this season. If they enter this kind of fire sale, Verlander absolutely has to go. Verlander would more than likely would be willing to go back to his first home in Detroit. If the Astros can land a top arm like Ty Madden, who's shown flashes of potential, then Houston would be forced to not take it. The idea of sending Verlander out into the sunset in the uniform of the team that he debuted over 20 years ago is a storybook ending to a Hall of Fame career. Now, a couple things. New York Mets are on the hook for his contract. And he's got an extension. He's got another year on his contract that he signed with the Mets. If he reaches 140 innings this year, the Mets are stuck having to pay him. Right now, the Mets are paying a good portion of his contract this season. If that option kicks in, if he hits that 140 innings, there's a good possibility that Mets will be stuck paying for him, and then he goes and whoever he plays for, he'll play another year under that contract. So that is so the money in terms of, that's not a money deal for any team wanting to pick him up. Maybe with the Mets, it wasn't a money issue which is why they were able to get Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford last trade deadline. But for any team, it's all about talent. There's no money that would be involved in this. No money kind of exchanging hands. That money's already been spent by the Mets, or potentially by the Mets. Well, you let me know what you think about this video, and of course, let me know what you think about all these different trade rumors starting to pop up. They're interesting. Some of them I don't think is going to happen, but maybe none of them will. But maybe all. Who knows? So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.